We want to first think about what are our biggest business goals. Hold it in your mind. What is your biggest business goal? Because we are going to spend some time there. What's your business anxiety? What is it showing up like? How is it affecting you? Think and Grow Rich and other phenomenons. You might have heard of the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And hack number one is metacognition. Metacognition is not a new concept, but metacognition can be used for business. And that in itself is a new concept. And then there are the times when I encourage business journal writing. So we are going to do some business journal writing because I want you to walk away today knowing exactly how to use metacognition for your business. So that's hack number one. All right, let's get started. So for those of you, this is your first time meeting me. I am Sonika, pronounced Sonika, or some people call me Coach Sen. You can find me on social media as Ask Coach Sen. And I recognize that a lot of entrepreneurs deal with fear, confusion, doubt. They are terrified of showing up for themselves and showing up for their business. And the thing about this is 72% of entrepreneurs will experience a mental health disorder at some point in time compared to 48% of non-entrepreneurs. Now, just think about this is just what's reported. What about the cases that are not reported? Because for some people, it's really hard for them to admit or share that they are struggling with their mental health. Now, I am no stranger to this. I don't think anyone is. Whether you are in idea phase, you're in startup phase, or your business point, you're going to shift. It's going to be really scary. You don't have family members that have taught you what to do. You know, you don't have like that grandpa that was in business that can help you. This is your first time venturing out. You're the first in your family to do this. And it can be really terrifying. And I can relate to that. I went to school to become a therapist and I did the coaching certification, but they didn't teach me how to be an entrepreneur or run a business. I had to learn. I had to spend time growing my mindset and investing in the things and the supports that I needed. And what happens when you work on your mindset? Anything is possible. I never would have thought that the girl that was voted most quiet in middle school would ever be doing public speaking at universities and corporations and doing interviews and being in print. I never would have thought that. But I had to work through my fear and my doubt. I'm not good enough. I don't like the way that I look. I don't like the way my voice sounds. All of these things, I had to work through that. And guess what? It's not something that happens once and you work through it and then that's it. You have to consistently work on this. I've invested so much time and energy into developing myself so that I can be here to support you. So I was where you were, thinking to myself, I have so much to give the world. I have a calling. I have a purpose. I know what I want to say. I know I'm qualified. I know that I'm educated. I even have the experience. But I'm so terrified because what if it doesn't work out? What if no one likes it? What if I fail? What if I get embarrassed? What if I am stuck in the same place and I disappoint myself? I won't like that. I want you to really think about that for yourself. What's holding you back? So here we are at what is your biggest business goal? When you think about this, and if you watch this on the replay, it'll be great because you can actually pause it. When you think of what is your biggest business goal, I want you to really close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine how big you could be. How could you change someone's life when you are not afraid anymore? What is your biggest business goal? And I don't want you to think about right now where you are. I don't want you to think about your current circumstances or your current bank account. I want you to think so big. I want you to think a God-sized goal. Because if there is anything that I know, you don't have to do all of this in your own might. You just have to believe, and then you have to act. Believe and act. That's it. Believe and act are the only two things that you need. So think about it. What is your biggest business goal? Spend some time writing this down. 5 minutes. I want you to do this over and over. And each time you do it, I want you to evaluate, did I truly think big, or was I thinking about it in limits? Was I limiting myself to my fear? Like, oh yeah, I'm thinking big. I want to make, $1,000 this month. Think bigger than that. Or I want to work with 2 clients. Think bigger than that. I want you to go as big as possible. So much that it terrifies you. It's okay to be scared of your big goal. That's fine. Your goal should make you a little nervous. And that's where I come in to help you to understand that, yeah, you have business anxiety. You're anxious about the business because you've never done this before, but that doesn't have to stop you. Okay. So now let's talk about how is business anxiety sabotaging your business goal? Welcome, 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 those of you who are here. So now that we're talking about how is business anxiety sabotaging your business goal, and we just talked about what is your biggest business goal, you want to be thinking about what is stopping me from showing up in this big business goal. What is scaring me when it's time to go live, when it's time to talk to that potential client, when someone sends you a DM or an email and says they're interested, when it's time to ask for help or support? Where do you find that you are sabotaging yourself? Or is it just consistency? What is it that causes you to shrink and run and hide in your business? So if you are here right now, this is a journal prompt. I usually will have journal prompts throughout the presentation, and we can discuss it at the end. I love discussing what you came up with. And you can continue journaling about it in your business journal as well. All right, so you might be wondering, like, what is business anxiety? Do I have this? What is she talking about? Does that apply to me? Well, if you want to figure out how you're sabotaging your business, you're going to need to understand the emotional signs, the physical signs, and even the behavioral signs that are stopping you. So think about this. Think of something in your business that you are avoiding doing right now. You're avoiding doing this thing. What comes up for you? Are you worrying about it? Like consistently worry, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And I see that we have some people here that are popping in and out. And on the replay, definitely go ahead and let me know in the replay what comes up for you, and leave that in the comments. You can also tag me in the network. So when you tag me in the network, I'll see your response and I'll respond to you. What comes up for you? Is it the persistent worry about, I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to be embarrassed? Or are you having difficulty staying focused? Like maybe you have a lot of ideas. I'm sure you are really highly educated, you have lots of experience, and you have so many ideas, but you just can't stay focused. You just don't have clarity. So I have the chat box open. If you feel like it, you can go ahead and share in the chat box what comes up for you emotionally. Maybe you feel frustrated because everything you've tried before didn't work. You've tried it once, you've tried it twice, it's not working, and now you're just frustrated because you just can't get it. Why is it that someone else is launching this idea or doing well with it, but I'm not? How come they're getting clients and I'm not getting clients? How come they're getting speaking engagements and I'm not? Whatever it is, what frustrates you? So go ahead and share that in the chat. I have the chat up so I can read that. let me know. And then when it comes to physical signs, do you notice that maybe when it's time to show up, your stomach gets a little bit upset, or you have like some muscle tension, or maybe you feel really tired, you feel exhausted. All of a sudden, you're supposed to do something for your business, and now you want to take a nap. You just suddenly out of nowhere just feel tired. So this is really common. This can happen. You might feel wired or on edge. You might just suddenly get some headaches out of nowhere. So those are physical signs that are indicating to you that maybe possibly I have business anxiety about this thing I'm supposed to be doing. And then there are the behavioral signs. And I love this because sometimes, entrepreneurs, they're like, I got new business cards, I'm doing business cards again, and I'm doing all this stuff. And it's like, okay, great, you're doing business cards again. However, are the business cards something that's bringing in clients? Are you making money from it? No. You're doing your website over. Are you making money from that? No. And I can say this because that was me too. Like I would be over here like, okay, I'm just going to change my colors again. I'm just going to do this thing again. If you can relate to that, let me know. Hashtag replay. If you watch this on the replay, let me know if you relate to that. Like you're doing all the things, you're so busy, but really what's happening is you're in avoidance mode. You're avoiding doing the exact things that you're supposed to be doing. So you're scrolling Instagram, you're looking at everyone else's content, but you're not creating your own content. Or you're kind of lurking around social media, you're lurking on LinkedIn, what's everyone else doing, but you're not doing your own thing. And sometimes that's you avoiding it because you're afraid, you're nervous, okay? So I want you to really think about, how are you sabotaging yourself? Like, where do you shrink? Where do you hide? How do you do it? Okay, so chat box is up, so you can go ahead and put that in there. There's procrastination. Sometimes people think they just procrastinate for no reason, but you're procrastinating for a reason. It's because you're nervous and you're not sure what to do or how to do it. And you're wondering, is it going to work? So now I want to talk about Think and Grow Rich. If you've read this book, awesome, read it again. If you've never read this book by Napoleon Hill, go ahead and get that book and read it. Or you can check out the YouTube audiobook as well, Think and Grow Rich, and other phenomenons. And what I mean by other phenomenons, you might have heard of The Secret. Like The Secret is actually a book, but it's also a Netflix special. Like it's a Netflix movie. So you can either read the book or you can check out the Netflix, The Secret. Why I'm bringing these up, when you think about these mega moguls, right? These multimillionaires, and you try to figure out, well, what is different about them? Are they like really smart? Are they way smarter than me? Are they just extra talented, or are they more blessed than me? Sometimes we can get into thinking someone is more blessed than us or more lucky. No, it's not any of that. They're not smarter or better or more blessed than you. You can do anything that you want to do as well if you figure out what they're doing. And what they're doing is they're paying attention to their thoughts. So Think and Grow Rich and other phenomenons like The Secret, I want you to check it out. So write this down in your business journal. I need to check these out. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and I need to check out The Secret. All right. So Think and Grow Rich was actually a book written way back in 1937, if you haven't heard of it, by Napoleon Hill. And he did a study of all of the mega millionaires of the time, like the Henry Fords and the Rockefellers. He was writing a book about, how do these men think? What's behind making all this money? What's their mindset? Because their mindset has to be different than everyone else's for them to be doing this. And it's true. Their mindset is different. And from speaking to all of these men and gathering all of this information, what he found out was there were 13 principles that they all seemed to follow. So he was able to summarize these 13 principles. And I'm going to tell you this. You might be thinking, I'm a Black woman. That doesn't apply to me. And I'll say this about it. There are things that are different from myself and the men in the books that they wrote about. This is true. But the principles about mindset can apply to anyone. Anyone has the ability to tap into their mindset and make the shifts that they need to make for their life. So that is fact. Whether we started at the same point or not, the fact is we can shift our mindsets. We have that power and that ability. And sometimes that's scary for us because we're thinking to ourselves, well, does it mean that because I haven't done it yet, I will never be able to do it? And that's not the case. You definitely can. So by suppressing negative thoughts, what it's saying, suppressing negative thoughts, and I'm not talking about mental health here, I'm talking about mental wealth. I'm talking about suppressing thoughts like, I'll never make that much money. Suppressing thoughts like that to switch those thoughts to, how can I make that much money? It's a shift from I can't to how can I? Okay. So check that book out and those 13 principles. Actually, I think we should probably do something specifically on this. And if you watch this, let me know if you'd like to do something where we specifically talk about Think and Grow Rich and go through the 13 principles together. We could probably do that as a challenge, as a group. I would probably like to do that myself. Okay, so hack number one, which is what you're here for, is using metacognition for business. Some people have never heard the term metacognition. It is not brand new and it has nothing to do with the metaverse. Metacognition is a concept, and this concept was developed to help people think about their thinking. This is the secret to what those in Think and Grow Rich did. They learned how to think like millionaires. They trained themselves to think a certain way, and then they all thought this way. So the hack number one is you can learn metacognition for yourself. It's learning how to think about how you think about business, and then you can make the shifts that you need to make. Okay, so if you have a metacognitive state of mind, what is that like? So just let me know, have you ever heard the term metacognition? You can say, yeah, I heard of it. Or if you haven't heard of it, you can say, no, I never heard of it. This is brand new to me. You can let me know. So a metacognitive state of mind, this is when we notice ourselves having inner dialogue about our thinking, and it prompts us to evaluate our problem-solving processes. So we are experiencing metacognition at work when we do that. Now, to explain this better, we often spend time worrying about our business. We worry. What's going to happen? What's not going to go right? What if I do this? What if I make a mistake? What if I lose money? We spend a lot of time worrying about the business, but are we actually problem solving? And you'll know the difference between worrying and problem solving, because if you are problem solving about challenges in your business, you have a point A, B, C, you can follow a path. You see like a solution to the end, okay? But if you are just worrying, you'll be spinning around. So you know how like your GPS will just keep saying redirecting until you definitely tell it where to go, or you make a decision that you're going to go down this path. It's the same thing with our mind. It'll keep spinning and worrying and not problem solving until we think about our thoughts on the matter and start problem solving. So this is a skill that can help us to think better in our business, make sound decisions, and solve problems more effectively. If there is any problem in your business that you can think about right now, what is that problem? Where are you stuck? Where are you having a hard time where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know my next best step, Seneca. I don't know how to solve this. So I'm stuck here and I'm actually spinning, redirecting, but I'm not actually going anywhere. What is that? If you feel so courageous to do so, go ahead and share that. I'd love to know what it is to support you in the moment as it's happening, because you can apply this to that current challenge that you're having right now. All right, so the chat box is up. And again, if you're watching this on the replay, you can go ahead and put it in there that, you know, this is my current challenge. This is what I'm going through in my business. So I want to explain something. Metacognition is a concept that is used in education. I think they should use it even more in education. But more and more entrepreneurs have figured out I can apply this way of learning, this educational tool, I can apply this to my business, to my business mindset. So this is an example of questions and alignments of questioning. So before you even start tackling the challenge, before you even start, the first thing you need to do is, what do you already know? What do you already know? We oftentimes get stuck with, I don't know. How many times have you said that? I don't know. I don't know what to do. What do you already know, right? So you write that down. What is this thing asking of me to do? Okay, what is it asking of me to do? So you go through this series of questioning, and in therapy, we call it Socratic questioning. So it's actually a technique, but it's applied here to learning and growing your mind. Then while you're going through it, during, you want to be evaluating what's happening. Is this working? Is it making sense? Is this a good strategy? What do I notice? What's happening here? And then after everything is done, and this is for those of you who are afraid of failure, okay? I love this concept of using metacognition and metacognitive questions, because instead of saying it failed, it didn't work out, I was no good, you then go into evaluating what happened. Well, what went wrong? What did work? What didn't work? What do you need to change and adjust? Where did you struggle? So you don't have to be afraid of failure when you know that you're just evaluating what happened. So when you do it again, when you start over and you make the adjustments, next time you'll be better. All you're thinking about is, how can I improve next time? There's no failure. Let's forget failure. There's no failure. So write that down. There's no failure. Forget failure. There is only improvement and progress. So this time was like this. Okay, next time is like that. And you keep going and going and going. Okay, doesn't that concept feel better than thinking that I'm just going to fail and it's going to be final? Doesn't that feel good to know that I actually can't fail? I might not land exactly where I want to, but I'm just evaluating. This is an evaluation process, and I do this over and over until when I get to the after, I'm like, I loved all these things. All these things check off. They were great. Everything worked out. Doesn't that give you like more relief when you think of it that way? So this is why you want to use metacognition, because this is what the people are doing. As I shared earlier in the book, questions are the answer. And I'll go ahead and share this as well after, so you can find this book and you can check it out. So now let's go into some journal writing, okay? So I want you to pull out your journal, because we're gonna think about a challenge that you have right now in your business. You have one challenge right now in your business. What is that challenge? What is that thing right now in your business that's challenging for you? So when you think about what that challenge is, you're gonna go through these steps. Assess the task in front of you. What do I have to do? Assess the task in front of you. Then you want to evaluate your strengths and weaknesses. If you are struggling with business anxiety, I encourage you to just focus on what you're good at and what your strengths are. The worst thing that you can do is try to go figure out your weaknesses in this moment when you're anxious. You're going to put yourself further in a hole. So focus in on your strengths. What are you good at? What comes easy to you? What's in your lane? Figure out what that is. Then you want to plan your approach. Okay, I know what I'm good at. I also know what I'm not good at. So I'm going to plan my approach. The plan for your approach is, when you start planning to your strengths, these are the things that you know you can do. But if there are things that are your weaknesses and you know you cannot do them for whatever reason, it's like maybe technology is not your thing or whatever is not your thing, you want to be thinking about, who can help me with that? Who can do this? This is exactly where we struggle. This is where we struggle, especially my ladies, my high achievers. This is where we struggle. This is what these multi-mega millionaires, that's what they were doing. You think they were doing all the work themselves? No, they were delegating and handing out and hiring and getting volunteers and using whoever and whatever to help them to do it, to help them to build it. So you don't have to build this on your own. I'm sure there's something that you don't know how to do that you can ask someone else if they know how to do it and they can tell you, or there's something that somebody else can do for you, or you can hire someone to do something for you. So definitely don't spend too much time focused on your weaknesses. Spend time focused on your strengths. Okay, so that's how you're going to plan your approach. Now, when you know what your approach is, you create a strategy. What's your strategy going to be? Okay, so I know I can do this. I know that I'm good at this. And my strategy is going to be I do this X amount of times a day or X amount of times a week, or I'm going to have this many calls this week with potential clients, or I'm going to promote myself this many times. And then I'm going to see what happens. So after you do all of that, you reflect and you evaluate. How did it feel to do this? What worked and what didn't work? So I hope that this is a great start for you to think about what metacognition is. Now, we can definitely talk more about metacognition if this is something that you guys want to know about. We can talk more about it. But once I understood this concept and I realized, like, wait a minute, these people, they're not extra special. Like, they're not really like that different from me. Why are they so successful? And, you know, in my travels of networking, all of that, I realized over time that I was doubting myself, thinking like, these people are like really smart. Maybe, you know, they have some connection I don't have. And I realized they just thought in a certain way. Their method of thinking was not very emotional, but it was more scientific. They looked at things in numbers and facts, and that was it. So they removed their emotions from it. They separated their emotions and their identity from it. So it wasn't I failed, it was that strategy failed. You see the difference there? So now that you've checked in and you've seen this, I am so glad that you were here to check this out. Any questions that you have in the network, please go ahead and tag me and let me know. And I look forward to seeing you at part 2 of Hacks for Business Anxiety. All right, conquer your best.